Hi friends, it's Martha Creek, marthacreek.com. There's a load and loads and loads of free resources there. Podcast, videos, the newsletter, and encouragement, inspiration, solid foundation, spiritual practices, tips. So make your way over there and receive whatever's there. It's all free. And it's a great use of me and my desire to serve those who serve and to get our teachings, these teachings, practical approaches to living, to being with situations and circumstances out to the whole of the world. So that is my intention, my purpose, my plan, and my vision. So I meet you today from that energy and from the spirit of that, and with great enthusiasm for that also. And the topic today I want to look at and encourage us to look at together is the word grit. Grit. And I'm a Southern girl, so it's not grits. And just for the record, even though I was born and raised in the South and have spent the majority of my life in the South, I didn't eat grits. I don't eat grits. And they were not in my house, which is the biggest mystery of the world, of how I could be born and raised in a farm, as a farm girl, and from a very pioneering group of people, and certainly strong pioneer women and the fact that there was no grits in that house is its own mystery still to today. And now that we're talking about it, I can't even know if I trust grits or not, because I watch people eat them. And there's a lot going on with those grits. I mean, some people put butter on them. Some put milk. Some put cheese. Some put sugar. So I'm pretty sure that we're having to do with those grits whatever we've got to do for preference. And it's those things that we're putting in them that we love, maybe, not the grits. But no offense, I'm not criticizing grits or grit eaters. Now, after that little tangent, back to the topic. Grit. The something extra. Think about the grit that you have. That's something extra. It's an extra something that separates people. It separates the attitude of people. People have it. And successful people have it. Pioneer people have it. People with an attitude to find a way have it. And it's a difference. It's a mindset, which we'll get into as we explore this more psychologically and neurologically also. It's also, grit has been defined as a passion, a perseverance, and for me, an uncommon stamina. An uncommon stamina, which is my favorite part about human beings. Honestly, it's like, my favorite part about human beings is that we just keep coming back and finding a way around obstacles, through obstacles, under obstacles, over obstacles. So this is a high time now to really activate and to bring forth, to the degree that we can, even if it's a little slight bit of grit. A hair of grit that will go a long, long way here. In these times and in all the times of being human, because there's a call for it in our relationships, in our occupations, our professions, our avocations, our vocations, certainly in spousal, relational, parental environments. There's a real call for some grit. So think about it then as a passion, perseverance, and an uncommon stamina that can be channeled. Yes, that can be channeled, that can be directed, that can be used intentionally with causative, generative kinds of action, with purpose. And in order to stick to our goals, in order to keep inching us along, in order for our evolution, it's like this bit of grit can be like water on a plant. To activate that grit, like to just literally say, okay, I don't love this a bit, I don't like this a bit, and I'm going to shift my mindset about this. I'm going to shift my mindset about this, and I'm going to activate any little bit of grit that I can. It's described literally in Webster as the firmness of spirit. A firmness of spirit. So think about that. What your life would be like and what you would be like in this life in a firmness of spirit. Now that's a radical departure from how it ought to be, how it should be. I don't like this. I don't want this. I don't need this. To a firmness of spirit. An unyielding courage. Unyielding courage. And boy, have we seen it, right? We've seen it. You've seen it. You've had it. You've had to have some unyielding courage through these times too. An unyielding courage. Even with resistance, even with the inertia, even with the allure, the temptation of the mind to give up, throw in the towel, shut it down, apathy, resignation. And then there's something else that says no, no. Get some rest, have a bite to eat, and then get up and see what else can be done here. An unyielding courage. And we've certainly seen it in these times, particularly in this year. A new depth, a new experience of courage that was only conceptual, really, until this year. And it's the best part of our humanness, the best part of our human beingness, this uncommon motivation, this uncommon stamina, this unyielding courage. And it's wind beneath my wings, I can tell you, because it's what keeps me at this, and it's what keeps me doing what I'm doing to serve humanity and to serve those who serve humanity. So a firmness of spirit, unyielding courage, and the ability to face hardship, to accept that hardship is part of our process here, that hardship goes with being human, and hardship is a part of our humanness. It's a part of our human relationships here. So there's no shortage of that. And then the power and the possibility, the potential then resides entirely in how am I going to be with this? And how am I going to relate to this? So think about then as we proceed here, the difference of a fixed mindset. You may call it like a closed mindedness, a closed mindset, or a growth mindset, or an more open mindset. So fixed or open, closed or growth-oriented mindset. So that's the polarities. So as a fixed mindset, so see if you can identify this in you. I certainly will be identifying it in me, and let me report with no shame, and please do not take this on as shame or blame or more self-hate, more insult to your soul, but to say, no, I'm using this to be informed. I'm using this to awaken. I'm using this to apply a different technique for myself. I'm doing this to dig out of torture, out of suffering. I'm doing this to awaken. So a fixed mindset gives up. The mind shuts down, it gets small and constricted, and it can see no options. Can you relate? And the tendency for it to just, nothing I can do. This will never end. That mindset. That's this 2,000 years old mindset, archaic. And then the growth mindset, the more open mindset says, how can I respond to this? Yes, it's challenging. Yes, I don't like it a bit. No, I don't love it. No, I don't prefer it. No, I didn't pick it, and I'm just mad. And how can I respond to this challenge? How can I get more responsive instead of reactive and shut down and more closed, more stuck, more frozen over? The fixed mindset, the closed mindset, magnifies the difficulty. It exaggerates, dramatizes. And us high righteous spiritual types say, oh no, I don't do drama. No, I'm not into drama. It's like, yes, we are. Yes, you are. Yes, you. You too. Me too. The allure to speak in terms of it never, ever goes my way. All my life, that's been happening every single time. All you ever do. The magnification of it and the allure to magnify it, to embellish, to exaggerate, to justify. And this patterned way of misery loves company, and misery is seeking other miserables to hole up with. And then the drain on our spirit, both ways. To continue to do that is so consequential to our causative, creative, innovative, resourceful mind, and it's certainly consequential to our relationships, to our families, our workplaces, because it cannot be sustained. It's not bearable over time. Well, without a lot of caffeine or alcohol or something that most of us know that is not all that good a choice for us. The more open mind then has something that says, I've got to regulate my response. I've got to regulate myself in response to this situation instead of magnifying it. Ain't it awful, making it worse. And I've got to regulate myself to say, yes, it actually is awful. I don't know what else to call it. And how can I be with the awful? What can I do in an awful situation that would be sensible and sane, and to proceed from there? The closed mind is also closed to any kind of ideas. It's closed to feedback. You have this in your relationships, in your family, absolutely. If you've got parents, either you had them or you still have them, or children, co-workers, of where you want them not to suffer. You're hearing their suffering, and you've got all this advice for them and coaching and counseling and mentoring for them, and there's no space for it. Can you relate to how much you want to fix and advise them and to get them out of that suffering? And the closed and stuck and froze over, the fixed mindset, the fixed energy and the inertia of that mindset is like there's no opening. So it's like we may as well be standing beating our head against a brick wall than wondering why our head bleeds, versus saying, I've got to stop this. And until that mind shows some kind of opening, then I've got to accept that there is no opening here. So then all the ideas that I desperately want them to take, I can apply. The ideas are for me, and the feedback I desperately want to give to them, there's no opening for. It's like, oh, let me take that feedback. That holds all the power in the universe for me to use my own advice and to be the first one to apply it. Then a growth mindset, instead of doing that, it accepts that all the suffering is for our human learning processes. My friend Steve used to say, I don't want to learn anymore. I'm through learning. Please, I'd rather just have a good cheeseburger. So it's like, but that growth mindset knows that all of this is for me to use it in some way to figure out a way to overcome, a spirit of overcoming. So then I allow and accept that challenges are included in the lifespan. I accept and allow that challenges are part of human learning processes, and that I, as a human, am also learning through them. And one of the metaphors that was given to me once is, we claim we don't want challenges. We claim we don't want to any obstacles in our way. And, certainly at a time like this, it's like, boy, is that ever true. Like, I've got enough on my plate. Thank you very much. Cooking on all 6 burners here, and it's boiling over most of the time. Versus, think about this metaphor was given like if you were a soccer player. I hope you know what soccer is. I barely do. But if you know what soccer is, you know, there's a field of people out there and there's a ball at their feet and they're kicking it up and down there. So it's like, think about then if they said, okay, if you don't want any obstacles, you don't want any opposition whatsoever, you just take you and your team or just you by yourself out there and a ball and just run up and down that field and kick that soccer ball in the net. Score. Then run back to the other end, run down again, kick it in the net, score. It's like, how long do you actually think you would do that? How much fun would there be in doing that? Versus, no, the opposition comes in, the defense. They're trying to block the ball. They're in our way. And that we've got to strategize and think and look at the lay of the land and test our bodies and our minds to see, how can I get around this? What can I do to get around this? That's the power, the causative nature, which is more in alignment with our divine nature, the higher mind, versus this closed, stuck, more animalistic mind. Another aspects of the fixed minds includes that it stops learning. It's not open to learning. I know everything already. I've been there, done that. I've got the books. I've seen the speakers. I've been to the workshops. It's like, well, you might want to tell your face because it's not caught up to all that wisdom yet, because you're still in a great deal of suffering here. And the less you're appealed by suffering, the more there's a possibility. But the fixed mind then is not open to learning, not open frankly, to even coming out of that. It also then has very minimal or no listening capacities. And I used to say it as, oh, they didn't have any ears. There was no ears to hear. So that's an out picturing. That's an example of the closed and stuck fixed mindset. Not able to learn, not interested in learning, and not listening at all. Like no capacity for listening, like no ears. So nobody home, nobody there to soak this in. So then think about then the polar opposite of that, to be able to learn, to listen, to be an inquiry. What works? What have you done? What worked well for you? They want feedback. A growth-oriented, high-mind mindset wants to be to have breakthroughs, to get new awarenesses, to gain perspective. And particularly in situations like this, it's so important to be able to do that now. Like what is effective, what isn't, to learn from it, to back up and try it again, and to continue to inform myself and to use feedback to inform myself, trial and error as feedback, as a circular something, so that it's a destination. It's not a destination then, but a way of being in the world, not somewhere where I arrive, where finally everything just gets into place. And one of the other attributes of the fixed mind is that it focuses on and is intent on expressing and bringing forth what's broke, that don't work, that won't work, that's the problem, that's the problem, that's the problem, that's the problem, and it's stuck in that. And it then, with that focus then, of course, that's what we're going to experience. So only until that we can shift over into more of a growth mindedness about this. And it's not a fake positivity, it's not a silver lining put around this. But like, no, even in this, where things are clearly broken, systematically congested, in crisis even, that what else is a potential here? Where is the potential here? And then from the growth-minded attitude, the growth-minded polarity can see, I can analyze what is and stay attuned to what is, evaluate the situation, evaluate it, and then discern what would be sensible action for me. What would be sensible action? What could I do to restore myself emotionally? What could you do that would restore yourself emotionally? What could you do that would restore yourself spiritually, that got you on a more solid ground for a spiritual life, for a firmness of spirit, a oneness with spirit? And then to look at the lay of the land. And this was given as a metaphor, another soccer, when I was listening to a podcast, and it said, these young kids, when you're watching young kids play soccer, they've not yet mastered it. So technically you're supposed to be hitting the ball with your feet, and they're hitting the ball with their shoulders and their arms and other things because they keep the ball high. And they've not learned yet that they can have more control of the ball if they actually let the ball settle, look at the lay of the land, where's my opposition, and then move the ball. And that's very applicable to me today, and maybe for you, that in these unsettling times, and these times that we have not seen before in our life, that we're not prepared for, regardless of what it is, this health crisis, a divorce, a diagnosis, a disease, an unemployment, anything that we have not experienced yet. And even if we've been through similar things, and nobody's been through what we've been through here this year, but even in other situations in life, it's like we feel unprepared for that. So it's so important then to let it settle a bit, evaluate the situation, what can be done here, what would sensible action be like here. And then the final attribute of the fixed mindset is consistently bringing in proof to defend its already drawn conclusions. So in the beginning, there was the conclusion. So it's stuck in that. So it'll bring in, yeah, but. And the kind of resistance, particularly with us helper types, and wanting to ease suffering, that we'll be wanting them to learn, wanting to give them insights or feedbacks or an analysis of a situation. Remember, no ears to hear, not listening, not able to listen. They've stopped learning when they're in this fixed mindset. All they're going to do is yeah, but, and bring in proof for why it can't be done. They're not going to be willing to see options. So think about then where the power lies in me and in you to wake up to this today and to see that these polarities of minds exist. And my job and my work, my preference is to keep my own mindset cared for, to be the gardener of my own mind, and the guard of my own mind, to keep that mindset healthier, more functional, more effective, more innovative, more creative, more causative, more responsive, more regulated, more allowing, more accepting what cannot be changed, willing to change what can be, and informed and governed and open to feedback and new insights and objectivity, less subjected, more objective, and then a keen ability to analyze the situation and to formulate a sane, sensible action for what can be done here. So God bless you, friends. God bless you as you activate and lean toward the growth mindset, aware of your own God-given grit as resilience, as power, as peace. And this is one of my favorite quotes from one of Unity's co-founders and the mother of Unity, Myrtle Fillmore. And it's likely not literal, so it's how I've integrated it. Get busy using the truth you know. Bring forth your own world of love, of friendship, of beauty, and of plenty. God is giving everything required to build such a world. There is within you the God-given intelligence to build such a world. Get at it. Get at it. And when you can't get at it, tell the truth. Because you do not have to do it alone. at least parts of it. Some parts you might have to do alone, but the majority you don't have to do alone. You're not alone. There's so much support, and you cannot do it wrong, even when it looks wrong. In the spirit of this kind of growth mindedness and of testing to see what will work, it cannot be wrong. Even if the world calls it a failure, it doesn't make it wrong. From that spirit of resilience and grit and creation and causative action. And what I know for sure is it's going to take longer than you like. It'll take longer than you like. I also know for sure you're equipped for it. 100% equipped. Big, big love. Big, big love. All blessings to you. And extra doses of grit and resilience and growth mindset.